Now I want to talk to you Chris Christie supporters, and I want to ask you a question. Can you explain to me, without sounding as ridiculous as your hero, how it can possibly be that over half of the states in the Union have joined in a brief to try and stop the federal government from violating the 10th Amendment, from violating the Commerce Clause, and from violating your God-given individual rights? How can it possibly be that such a case does not merit 30 minutes of attention from your governor in New Jersey and 5 seconds to sign on to the brief? If he's a limited government, small government constitutionalist, why is he AWOL? Could it be possibly that when it comes to federal power, he's not a limited small government guy? Whether it's illegal immigration, whether it's cap and trade and the green issues? Could that be why he campaigned for Mike Castle? One issue, the teachers union, is not enough. It's not enough. We need more. ConservativeNewJersey.com, we will link to this. They demonstrate with facts how Christie has taken multiple positions on this to avoid signing the brief. Why? Why avoid it? It costs New Jersey not 1 cent. On March 23 of last year, State Attorneys General Bill McCollum of Florida, Ken Cuccinelli of Virginia filed lawsuits against the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, claiming that the provisions of Obamacare mandating that all citizens and legal residents have qualifying health care coverage was unconstitutional. They were joined in the suit by the Attorneys General of 12 other states originally, and now many more. New Jersey was conspicuously absent from the list. When questioned about this on March 24 of last year, Christie said, quote, "I haven't gotten briefed yet on what we think the ramifications are. It's a 2,500-page bill. We'd like to act on it in a way that is informed. And from my perspective, given the transition that I haven't been living with this issue for a year, I want to make sure I get fully informed by my Attorney General and by my Commission of Health, which I've asked, it would be whom I've asked, to give me advice. When they do, then I'll consider whether or not we need to take any legal action." He said, "I have enough to do up here. I have to examine how the health care legislation affects the health care system in the state of New Jersey and whether or not it's in our state's best interest. And then I'll decide whether we need to take any legal steps to try to protect the interests of the people of the state. But in the terms of advising our congressional delegation on how to vote on this stuff, that's up to them." Now keep in mind, this bill creates a massive new expense through Medicare for the states, for state taxpayers. Massive. And that's one of the arguments being made. So it can't be a fiscally conservative position to ignore it. It can't be a constitutional position to ignore it. It can't be an individual rights position to ignore it. So is he a big government guy when it comes to the feds? Obamacare was front-page news when he was sworn into office in January of last year and was still a hot topic of discussion 3 months later. The governor's staff had ample time to pursue any number of critical digests of the bill, if not the bill itself, become at least as informed as the average Tea Party activist. He certainly didn't have to be a constitutional scholar to understand that the legislation was flatly unconstitutional, and that as chief executive of the state of New Jersey, he was responsible for defending its 10th Amendment sovereignty against precisely this sort of intrusion. And I will add, the budget of New Jersey against this kind of mandate. The governor's statement was all the more puzzling in light of the fact that just 20 days after taking office, Attorney General Paul Liddell joined the Attorneys General of Massachusetts, Vermont, and Maryland in support of the University of California, which was being sued for religious discrimination by the Christian Legal Society. one is compelled to ask why, with all the problems plaguing New Jersey at that point in time, did Paula Dow commit a considerable amount of time and resources to join a lawsuit that only tangentially affected New Jersey, instead of focusing that time and those resources on a patently unconstitutional piece of legislation that threatened the liberty of every citizen of New Jersey? On October 18, however, the governor's tune had begun to change. Question put to him: do you support repealing health care reform? Answer: yeah, I did not favor Obamacare in the first place. Really? I thought it was too big a grab by the federal government for our health care system. It should not have been voted on in the form that it was in the first place. Business folks are very concerned, and they're sitting on a lot of capital because they're not sure of how much more cost the government is going to load onto them, not only through Obamacare, but through higher taxes the president's talking about. He doesn't even get that right. It's not just business people, it's we, the people, who have a problem with this, and his state, like every other state, that's going to have a massive new mandate and have to raise taxes. So the folks at conservativenewjersey.com, they say, finally, it only took 10 months for the governor to arrive at a conclusion most thinking conservative reached over a year earlier. Perhaps he was influenced by the proceedings of the November is Coming Take Action seminar held on October 23 in Clark, New Jersey, that featured Virginia Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli. Even if we assume New Jersey's share of the lawsuit cost 100 times the $1,000 figure given by Cuccinelli, would the governor forsake an opportunity to defend New Jersey against an unconstitutional intrusion by the federal government because it costs as much as the average annual salary of at least 10 of his office staffers? Maybe he was influenced by the ruling of federal judge Roger Vinson in Florida that gave 20 states a green light to proceed with their lawsuit against Obamacare. So much for his concern about the chances for winning. At this point, one doesn't have to be a constitutional lawyer or a Vegas bookie to figure that the odds are pretty good the lawsuit will prevail when, not if, it reaches the Supreme Court. Well, I don't know if it'll prevail or not, but it's a close fight. Doesn't the governor want to participate? It is now the middle of November, they write. That's November of last year, and we have yet to hear if Governor Christie has authorized his attorney general to join the lawsuit. Answer: no, because now we're heading toward the middle of 2011. New Jersey has, perhaps he's worried about appearing hypocritical. You see, New Jersey has New Jersey Family Care, its own version of Obamacare, which the governor's budget recently funded to the tune of $110 million. Was it a conflicted governor? One who wishes to be perceived as a conservative, even if he really isn't? And so, ladies and gentlemen, the question is, why is, for you Christie supporters, why is Christie still standing on the sideline on this issue? And why is he given so many different reasons for standing there? How can you be a conservative governor and not defend the 10th Amendment in your state's authority under the federal Constitution, not defend your state taxpayers and the state budget against massive increases in Medicaid spending, and defend the people of the state of New Jersey from a federal government, a president who wants to compel them in a way that is unprecedented to do something they may not want to do? Now, Mitt Romney's under attack because of Romneycare in Massachusetts. Well, that's problematic, Romneycare. It's a foolish law. It's a non-conservative law. And Romney was relying, as a matter of fact, on one or more conservative think tanks who helped him draw up the plan, believe it or not. But he's under attack for it. Fine. I'm not a Romney guy. And I'm not for Romneycare, and I can tell you this, he's going to have a hell of a time explaining it when he's up there on the stage with Obama. If he is. But what's Christie's excuse? It seems to me when you're absent from the battlefield, the legal battlefield, the former U.S. attorney knows this full well, you're also making a statement. If the highest official in New Jersey opposed Obamacare, he'd be in this case with all the other highest officials of the other states. So why isn't he? I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.